Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for tonight's study session, we have two items. The first is we'll review in detail the City Council agenda. And then the second item, I will turn over to the Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman David McGee, for that portion for presentation. So with your permission, we'll go ahead and go right into the City of North Augusta regular council meeting agenda. So the first four items are routine actions that the mayor will cover. And then as we move into item number 5 under personnel and item number 6, also personnel, will be the recognition of service to the City of North Augusta for two of our retiring employees, Jackie Hill and Nancy Payne. I know you all are well familiar with the service of both of our Augusta citizens and employees, and it's a big loss to the city to have that much talent, retire out the door at the same time. But at the same time, we wish them well as they go forward. And then the mayor will go to item number 7 for a proclamation of National Travel and Tourism Week. As we transition into new business, item number 8 under public safety, resolution number 2021-17, authorizing a permit for construction work. This is an item we've talked about in previous study sessions, and this is to allow for Fire Station 1 on Martintown Road to have their concrete pours happen outside the authorized work hours of the city. So in order to do a large concrete pour, the slab that's going to be there for the base of this project, they need a large contiguous block of time for the concrete to be poured and then be cured. And so that is the request that we have for the council, and we've built in some time on that resolution so that they have some rain days and other things built in case that doesn't go well from a weather perspective. So I'll pause there for any questions on number 8.
Jim, are they just asking for one day for this pour to go in between those dates, or is it, I missed that study session obviously, but
it's going to be as many days as it takes. Councilman, I've been told it really shouldn't be any more than 3.
Right.
But they wanted to give themselves some latitude depending on the pour itself, because it's a large pad. It covers not just the fire station bays, but the living spaces and all the things that go along with that, and sidewalk areas. So that's something that they need a little extra time to do. So we gave ourselves a window just because I didn't want to have to come back here to the council and ask for a second request for that, unless we run into some just kind of acts of God weather events that don't allow us to pour during that time frame.
Right, that's fine. So they're anticipating about 3 days. So because I know the dates it looked like about a 2-week block there.
Yes, sir.
So
that's not anticipated
right.
to be an everyday pour during those dates.
Okay, just because I'm sure the public will be asking, well, what do you mean for 2 weeks? No, so it should only take about 3 days. I got you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Dickert?
Thank you. As a commercial contractor, I can tell you every decent-sized commercial building, they pour slabs before 7 a.m. So we've probably, contractors, speaking on behalf of all contractors, probably broken this rule constantly in the city's history. I know the city has with our own project. I know I'm on the way out the door, but I would advise council to look at changing this, because I think that's a burden of contractors not knowing that they need to ask for this. The only way they're going to know is if permitting office advises them, and then that's just an extra burden. I'm just going to tell you, big concrete pours have no choice but to start in the wee hours of the morning. So all for this, but I think we don't even need to be asking for this. And maybe you can caveat it and say just concrete pours, because you don't want all construction work happening. But and I'm sure every shopping center and every commercial building in North Augusta started before 7 a.m. So
I agree with you, Fletcher. I think the reason it was done, I'm assuming the reason it was all done was just for the neighbors, proximity of the residents. But like you said, the concrete
I think you got a combination of that, Councilman, and you got a new city administrator who's just trying to read the rules and make sure I'm not running afoul of things. So I think we'll go ahead and, Councilman Dickert, that's certainly something we could take a look at, and there may be some.
No, I was just thinking whether, and this is just for when we decide to do something with it, if we do, if an administrative waiver would be a better way to handle it, where we still have the time there, but they don't have to come to council to get it, that I'm not sure whether it's the city administrator or whoever, just so we'll have some knowledge when something like that's taking place and it can be done without having to go through council to get it done. But we'll talk about that when we look to redo it.
And if the council's will is to go that route, I guess it'll fall on Tom and his department to figure out how to effectively communicate that to contractors, because from my experience, which granted I mostly work locally, I haven't encountered a municipality that has required such kind of work permit for starting early. So just be aware that you may get some pushback from the community contractors or just them not being aware. So something to have to navigate.
Now, after hearing what everybody has said, I agree it should be an administrative thing, because then if you make it just an open law, then you're going to have neighborhoods like Hammond's Ferry. They have their own work hours. And I know there's been people working on weekends that have been reported and have had to stop. So then you get into, well, the city says we can do this, but the neighborhoods may not want that. So I like the idea of, like you say, leave it up to Tom or Mark or you, Jim, to say, okay, this is reasonable. It's for a big commercial pour. But if we make that, like you were saying, Fletcher, a law, I could see that causing some issues in some of the neighborhoods that have their own covenants about when you can do work and all. So I would support, going that route.
And also, and maybe Fletcher can answer, David was helping me over here too, the third paragraph up where it says construction work, 3 a.m. to 9 p.m., I mean, is that something for a neighborhood too?
Well,
I mean, 3 a.m.?
I've started pours at midnight. It kind of depends on how big of a pour you're talking about, how many cubic yards of concrete they've got to get out, and what time of year. If you're in the dead middle of the summer and it's a huge slab, you've got to start early because it takes so much time to get all the trucks there. Mm-hmm. And honestly, there's another reason too, is because concrete can only sit in trucks for so long. And they want to get it out before morning rush hour, because then trucks, if they sit too long, then they've got to reject them. So.
Well, now, is this something we need to notify neighbor? And I know we're passing at night and they should see it, but that should say the work will be at 3 a.m. I mean, I'd hate to wake up and, what in the world? That we maybe just those close neighbors.
Well, I think the notification procedure, Councilwoman, would be, once we have the actual hard dates set, that those can get posted on the website, because most of those neighbors are tied into the city update page on Fire Station 1.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And I would think you're talking probably, they may have said 3, but it's probably one day. They're going to pour that fire station slab, I would think, in one day. The footings, they're not going to pour early.
Well, thank you for the comments and feedback. Any other questions on number 8 under public safety for the permit for construction work? Hearing none, I'll go to item number 9 under zoning, which is a planning commission recommendation, memorandum number 21-017, rezoning application RZM 21-001, Highland Springs School, receipt of information by council. And this was an item that was considered by the Planning Commission to allow for a zoning item, which is in your packet. And if there are any specific questions about that, either myself or Libby Hodges can probably cover down on that.
Jim, just real quick, I know this is just receipt of it, but for, eventually we'll have to vote on this, I'm assuming. Is there any contingencies in there that if it's zone P that, they will build a school there, because then we run a risk of, if they pull out for some reason, then we got to go back and rezone it for something else. Now, is that a big issue, or is that something, on any of these projects that come up, are there contingencies written in that it has to be built specifically for this purpose only?
So I'll defer to Libby, but as far as the zoning, as far as the P versus something else, that's something that can be, through another action be changed. At least in my discussions with King Lawrence, the Aiken County School Superintendent, they're moving forward on this. They don't see a change to their strategic goals. And so at least in our dialogue with the county, school system, this seems to be pretty solid.
Yeah, this is the first time I've been on where we have zoned something P for something other than a city project. So this is obviously the Aiken County Board of Education and not the city of North Augusta. So is that about right, Libby?
Okay. So it's my understanding with the passage of the bond that basically they're tied in, like they're going to build it. It's going to happen. And the purpose of the P zoning, just to get a little more philosophical about it, but the purpose of the P zoning is not just for city properties, it's for any public use in general.
And is this elementary and middle school that was passed with the sales tax?
Yes.
Like 3 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, you have some time asking for any decisions tonight by council. We just want you to formally receive the information from the staff. And again, if you have individual questions, as you have time to review this, you can always reach out through me or Rachel, and we'll get you, the answers to your questions as you go forward before we put it back in front of the council for a vote. Are there any other questions on item number 9 for zoning? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 10 under election, which is the 2021 Municipal General Election Certification of Official Results from the Municipal Election Commission Council Acceptance Motion. So this is your formal receipt and certification of our municipal elections last week, where we've got 3 council members that have been affirmed and then a new mayor as well. So you'll certify those results in the city council meeting. And that'll be one of the final acts of the current sitting council.
Now, will David and I vote on that or not? Will that be a conflict of interest?
Basically, at the last time I said it's, I would recommend that you not vote on it. It's like you voted on it before, but since you're involved technically in the election, I think that and based upon some ethics decisions that I have seen in the last couple of years that were very surprising, I would suggest that you not take part in that vote. Do I? Yeah, it's their decision, yeah.
So they have the option of voting or abstaining. Is that the?
That's correct.
Okay.
And they have that, and it's their responsibility on every issue that comes before us. This is just one of those quirky ones, in my opinion.
Okay. Any questions on item number 11? Hearing none, moving to item 12.
I recognize who Fletcher is. Do you know who I am, Fletcher? Okay, yeah, we're good.
On to item number 12. And then Judge Murphy will be administering the oath of office to our incumbent council members, our new council member, and then our new mayor. I don't believe I have any questions on that particular agenda item, but I'll pause in case there are. Okay. Then we'll have administrative reports, which at this time we have none. And then we'll have presentations, communications, and recognition of visitors, which I'll defer to Sharon on whether we have any comments or folks that have decided they want to participate. Doesn't appear that we do.
I don't think do we accept written comments if we're in right. If we're in public session, we don't accept generally written comments. So that'll be the first official business that the new mayor will be able to take care of.
That's correct, sir. All right, that would conclude our item number 1 on the study session. So that's our city council agenda. And again, I'll pause for any questions on that agenda. Hearing nothing from council, I will pass the floor to item number 2 to our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman David McGee.
Mr. Mayor, will you step up front with me for a moment?
Okay, okay.
Mayor Pettit, Mayor Pettit, if you're not speaking into the microphone, folks who are watching the live stream can't hear it. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm typically the one reminding people of that. But as council members, we've had a good run. We've had vigorous debates. Somebody said we disagreed, but we've not been disagreeable about it. And I think the city is certainly better for that. And I know the city is better for all of your service and time. And Fletcher, as I said the other day, I thought it was 12 years, but it turns out it's only 8. To you, it probably seems like 20. So, but we'll talk more. I'll talk more about it later. So, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sir, I have no other items for the study session this evening, and if you would like to adjourn for comfort break and re-adjourn at 7 p.m. for the city council meeting, we'll be prepared to do so.
That's fine by me.
We
Okay.
all want to head on up to Gary's.
I'd like to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order. I'd ask you to stand for the invocation and the pledge. Dear God, we assemble once more to conduct the business of this city. And tonight it's a special time of transition. We ask that wisdom be a part of the mantra of the new council person and the new mayor, recognizing that the city as a whole, every resident depends upon the decisions that they are a part of. We also ask for wisdom for those incumbents that were reelected and for the holdover council members. This is an exciting time with enormous opportunity within our city. We're blessed with outstanding city employees who put service to our citizens as their number one priority. They're at risk every day, dear God, and we ask that you keep them safe, each and every one of them, every day. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record reflect that all council members are present. Council, you've been provided the study session and council meeting minutes of our meetings on April 19th of this year. They'll stand approved as furnished unless you have corrections or additions. Hearing none, they're approved. We want to recognize two people who are retiring tonight. First is Jackie Hill. Is he here, James? No? Okay. He's been unable to be here. Let me just tell a little bit about Jackie Hill. And it's my pleasure to thank him for his 30 years of dedicated service as he's earned a well-deserved retirement. Jackie spent his entire career in the Public Utilities Department. He began his career in 1990. Over the years, he's provided exemplary technical service as a frontline maintenance and construction technician. As you can imagine, over 30 years, Jackie worked with people in multiple city divisions throughout this long tenure. He's been dedicated throughout his career, making sure the citizens of this city were provided essential utility services. These are the services that are often taken for granted by many of us. That is, until there's no water available for your morning coffee. And Jackie will be missed by his entire city family. We certainly wish him our best wishes for a happy and retirement and good health and good fortune. He will be receiving a plaque from the city for his service. Second person who we're honoring tonight is Nancy Payne. Excuse me. Nancy is retiring from a Parks, Rec, and Tourism Department after 28 years, 9 months, and 14 days, but who's counting, as supervisor of facilities and special events. During her tenure, Nancy's been blessed to meet so many wonderful people in our community. And in addition to that, a veritable who's who list of notables, such as Presidents George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, Senator John McCain, and South Carolina Governors Carroll Campbell David Beasley, Mark Stanford, and Nikki Haley. I'm certain they've been equally blessed to have met Nancy. Nancy put together the mayor's prayer breakfast for a large number of years and was privileged to meet guest speakers such as former Georgia head football coach Mark Richt, former Clemson head football coach Ken Hatfield, and former NFL player and college football coach Bill Curry. Nancy began, and this is I found extremely interesting, began as special events coordinator in 1992. She was put in charge of Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee, the North Augusta July 4th celebration, spring festivals, classes such as gymnastics, tap and ballet, crafts, firearm safety, CPR and first aid, painting, Christmas and Easter egg ornament decorating, kids' exercise classes, yoga, summer playground program, and senior citizen activities. If that wasn't enough, after a period of time, Nancy was somehow able to keep the responsibility for a number of these duties as she transitioned to managing the North Augusta Community Center. Nancy moved to this building when it was new in 2009, and she managed the Palmetto Terrace Ballroom. That was in addition to her community center responsibilities. And Rick, did you still have her doing all those other things then too? Whew. In this building, she's played host to so many birthday parties, wedding celebrations, high school proms, master's parties, and retirement parties. I'm sure if you've lived in this city for any period of time at all, you have certainly attended a Nancy Payne hosted or catered function. She's been the ultimate customer service representative. Nancy, we want to thank you for the innumerable events that you made special for residents of this city, as well as visitors to this city. And she certainly deserves an enjoyable and healthy retirement. So thank you to both of them. I want to now proceed to item number 7. It's a proclamation for National Travel and Tourism Week. And I can't think of a single service that we've had in this country that's been impacted more than our tourism industry. And so this is National Travel and Tourism Week, and whereas the power of travel has been a consistent driver of North Augusta, South Carolina's economy and workforce, a robust travel industry provides significant economic benefits for the nation, generating more than $2.6 trillion in economic output in 2019, with $1.1 trillion spent directly by travelers in the U.S. And whereas travel has been the foundation of a healthy workforce, serving as one of the largest private sector employees in the U.S., supporting 17 million jobs in 2019. And whereas spending by travelers has aided state and local governments alike, like ours, generating $180 billion in tax revenue in 2019 to support essential services and programs. And whereas travel and tourism dependent businesses and organizations, 83% of which are small businesses, are responsible for welcoming visitors from all around the world to explore North Augusta, South Carolina, and all that our country has to offer. And whereas last year the coronavirus pandemic devastated every sector of the travel industry, with staggering declines in 2020 compared to 2019, affecting every community in the country, certainly including North Augusta, South Carolina. And whereas the travel industry cannot recover without the full return of leisure and business travel, as well as meetings and events by both domestic and international travelers, And whereas the rebound of travel will drive the rebuilding of the U.S. economy and American workforce, and whereas the power of travel will revive North Augusta and the United States and drive us forward to a more prosperous future. Now therefore I, Mayor Robert Pettit, do hereby proclaim May 2nd through the 8th, 2021, as National Travel and Tourism Week in North Augusta, and urge the citizens of this city, the state of South Carolina, to join me in recognizing the crucial role this industry plays in our city. Thank you. The good news is, I think, as evidenced by Friday night, is that people are ready to safely put COVID behind us, and let's, move forward and get whatever the new normal is. Let's figure out how to get there, and let's get there. Okay, under new business, number 8, under public safety, it's resolution number 2021-17, authorizing a permit for construction work. Do I have a motion to adopt this?
Second.
They're eager, Fletcher. They want to give you a chance to be in the minutes for the last meeting. Bob Brooks and Eric Presnell. Jim, do you want to give an overview of this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, for the citizens present tonight and for our council members, this is something that we've discussed in a study session previously, and this is a request for our primary contractor, Clifton Construction, to be able to work outside of authorized work hours, which are normally from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., based on the size of the concrete slab pour that is going to be required for the base of Fire Station 1 on Martintown Road. That concrete pour will have to happen much earlier in the morning for that to be accomplished. And so we're asking for a date range from May 24th to June 18th. The concrete pour itself will not take nearly that long, but we wanted to give ourselves a fair amount of time and a window to operate in case of weather requirements or weather delays. And so we, as required by current ordinance, we are requesting a resolution from the council to allow us to do that work for the concrete pour for Fire Station 1.
Thank you, Jim. Are there any comments from citizens tonight on this? Council? Hearing none, call the question. And we can, since we're in person tonight, we could do a show of hands. So, all in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number 9. This is receipt of information by Council Planning Commission recommendation memorandum number 21-017, rezoning application RZM 21-001, Highland Springs Schools. Without objection, Council will receive this without objection for further study. Item number 10 is the municipal general election certification of official results from the Municipal Election Commission. Fletcher, do I have a motion to accept this, Council?
So moved. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The chair is going to second it. How's that? Okay, who has this one, Sharon? Do you, Kelly, have it? Well, I guess, but what do we... I get Aaron. Yes, thank you. Kelly was reminding me that both Mayor Pro Tem David McGee and Councilwoman Pat Carpenter have recused themselves. Since I don't have an official result, I think obviously by the attendance tonight, we can tell you that the winners in the election were, for mayor was Britton Williams, and then for council was Jennifer McCauley, Pat Carpenter, and David McGee. And I want to thank the Election Commission for their work in that. That was, they did a great job. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from citizens? Council? All in favor? It's unanimous of those voting, 5-0. Item number 11. It's recognition of Councilmember Fletcher Dickert and me. Fletcher and I checked before the meeting. We each know who we recognize each other, so we're good with that. But who's Jim? You? Do you have it? Well, I recognize Fletcher. What an honor. I apologize to Fletcher and to you in attendance tonight. It has been so long since we've been in these council chambers for a meeting that none of us, well, I won't speak for the rest of them, but I certainly have no idea of what's going on anymore. You know, this is an interesting time in our city's life. Fletcher first began his time on council in the time when I was sitting third seat, second row center for all of the council meetings. And I think it's safe to say that Fletcher's contributions from his first day on the job have been significant and really overwhelming in the effort that he's put into understanding what the issues are, studying them, asking the right questions, including always, and where's that funding coming from? But I just can't imagine council going on without you. I recognize that your family is here, and you have 3 young, beautiful daughters, and I know that they desperately want your time, and the city's been benefited greatly by the 8 years you've spent. And we have this plaque which says, presented to Fletcher Dickert with grateful appreciation for your outstanding leadership and service to the city of North Augusta, South Carolina, May 2013 through May 2021, from the Mayor and City Council, May 3rd, 2021.
Well, Mr. Pettit, people may not realize, but I got to meet Mr. Pettit about 10 years ago, and met him in a neighborhood breakfast meeting with a bunch of gentlemen when I started considering looking to run for council. And during that time, Mr. Pettit was a great fan of mine, and we've become good friends since then. After that, Mr. Pettit spent most of the time, like he said, in the second row, third seat center, quite often, religiously. And I would receive phone calls regularly the day after for questions and concerns and details of information. So Mr. Pettit was an active citizen way before he became our mayor. Sometimes I loved those phone calls, and sometimes I was like, oh my goodness, what is he going to ask me today? And sometimes I had good answers, and sometimes I wasn't able to give good answers. But he's definitely a student of the city. He took his time and effort to be able to serve the citizens prior to being mayor. And I know he had his heart set in what he was doing when he started. And I just want to say thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment to the city. And we have a placard for you. And this placard, once again, it says, this is presented to Mr. Bob Pettit, Robert A. Pettit, with grateful appreciation for your outstanding leadership and service as mayor of the city of North Augusta, May 2017 to May 21. From City Council, May 3rd, 2021. Thank you very much. And I'll get to present him also this picture. This is going to stand in the hall with all the other former mayors. So I'd like to present him this picture as well.
Certainly, thank you. But Fletcher, do you want to give you a chance now as your parting opportunity to give some comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think it'd be weird for me not to say something. It's kind of bittersweet. It's hard to believe that it's been 8 years. It's been an incredible honor and privilege to serve the citizens of North Augusta. I'm really proud of the things that we as a community and as a city leadership together, it's not just one person, but together, that we have accomplished over the past 8 years. We've accomplished a lot together. There are a lot of folks I need to thank. First, to the citizens, thank y'all for taking a chance 8 years ago on a young 27-year-old kid who didn't know what was going on and who just worked hard to try to figure things out. I didn't take for granted the trust that you placed in me, and I did the best I could. Maybe not always made the right decisions, but did the best I could to represent you well and to help move this city in a positive direction. Thank you for entrusting me with this great duty and responsibility. To my family sitting up there, thank you for all the sacrifices that y'all have made to allow me to serve. My 3 kids won't know what to think when Dad is home on Monday night. They ask all the time on the Monday nights that we're not in council, what are you doing home? So it'll be different for our family. People thank me all the time for serving, but the real ones that deserve to be thanked are my family and especially my wife. Thank you, babe. Every time I was at a city meeting, function, or community event, that left my wife alone after a long day of work with those 3 wild kids back there, trying to get them fed, do homework, get them bathed, get them ready for school the next day. I can tell you, I had the easier job sitting here. So, serving your community is a family commitment and sacrifice, and I want to sing praises of my wife for a minute. As an example, it was a big event, opening of SRP Park, only the biggest project the city's ever undertaken. First 5 years of being down here. And not 7 days prior to opening night, my wife gave birth to our 3rd child. And who was standing beside me opening night as we cut the ribbon? Was my wife with our 7-day-old child along with our other 2 kids. So When I say it's, your family makes sacrifices and it's a family commitment, it truly is. So I could not have done this without you, babe. Thank you for your willingness to let me download after long meetings and tell you about all the boring stuff we talked about at council. Thank you. I love you. To the city staff, thank you all for allowing me to be one of your leaders. Thank you for always answering all my never-ending questions and entertaining my wild ideas. I appreciate each one of you for what you do for our citizens. I encourage you to continue to provide that excellent customer service that we provide to our citizens. Remember, that's who we work for. To my fellow elected officials, it's been a joy to work alongside each and every one of you. Jimmy, you as well. Something that has been great, and Mr. Pettit has commented on this already, is that, it's rare these days in politics that an elected body can debate issues, can have vigorous debate and debate it on the merits. But at the end of the day, once the vote is done, we lock arms and move forward together on that issue and on the next issue. And we don't make it personal. And for that, I have been blessed to be part of that group. And North Augusta is better because of that. Thank you for allowing me to get on my long-winded soapbox talks from time to time. And for always allowing me to add my 2 cents in on pretty much any and all issues. I think everybody knows that I can't help myself. I think my wife is glad that y'all got to experience that too. To my replacement, Jen, congratulations. I'm so excited. Oh, you're fine. It's part of being a mom. I'm so excited and honored for you to take my seat. Your perspective as a young female business owner and mother, I think, will serve this city well. Don't be afraid to ask those tough questions, to stand firm for what you believe in. And it's okay and expected in my seat to get on soapbox talk, so you can do that. And also, just so you know, my seat comes with the responsibility to ask where things are going to be funded from. So make sure you ask about money. Again, congratulations. I wish you the best in your journey in serving the community. It's truly a blessing to get to serve your community, and hope you enjoy it. To our next mayor, Britton, congratulations. I'm excited to see how you have helped shape and lead our community. I've watched you for the past couple years lead the Planning Commission and seen the change and how things have gotten done under your leadership at the Planning Commission, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you apply that to the city as a whole. One thing I'd like to challenge you in is, although a 4-3 vote is all that is needed to move an initiative forward, I would encourage you to limit those and to always seek for greater unity with all the issues that come before you. And by having greater consensus, I think leads to greater outcomes for our community. So I encourage you to do that, even though 4 is all you have to count to, but I encourage you to get to 5, 6, and 7. Best of luck. We're all counting on you. Well, I guess it's now time for me to hang it up, at least for now. I'm now looking forward to spending more time with my family and finding other ways to make a difference in our community. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere, council. So don't be afraid to call on me if I never answer questions. I won't be bashful with my opinion. But in all seriousness, thank you, North Augusta. It's been a real honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Fletcher. That's well spoken. As I said before, it's been a pleasure. Most people don't know just how much time and energy and the number of contributions you made to the city. They were long and hard hours, but the results show it. So, good for you, man. Appreciate it. If you will allow me, as you can tell, that's the seat that comes with being, getting on your soapbox. I think, who knows where this will go, least of all me. But I will say it's been an honor these last 4 years to sit in this chair, be the mayor of this great city, and hopefully provided some modicum of leadership over those last 4 years. The best thing about the job was working essentially every day, I guess, much to their dismay, but with an outstanding group of people who work hard doing what's most important, and that's providing service to the residents of this city. It's this group of people in the front row that do the day-to-day work and are eminently qualified and really receive little credit and probably too much abuse. Rick Meyer, James Sutton, Tom Zeeser, Jim Clifford there, city administrator, J.D. McCauley, personnel, Cammie Hayes, chief financial officer, Libby Hodges, director of planning, Rachel Moody, assistant city administrator. Got Kelly Zier up here with me, who's been worth every quarter we pay him a year. And last but not least, Sharon Lamar, the city clerk. Unfortunately for them, but Cammie, Sharon, and Jim are the 3 speed dial buttons on my phone, and they've been invaluable to getting things done in the city, and most appreciative. And I must give special call out to Rachel, who was one of the 3 buttons there for an extremely stressful time in the last year and a half or so, and did just a bang-up job. Thank you, Rachel. That was great. 4 years ago, there were opportunities. Today, there are more opportunities. As much as I'd like to reminisce, I think it's really tomorrow that's more important than yesterday. 4 years ago, there was bare ground down by the river, but there was opportunity. If you remember, first it was Project Jackson, then for a brief time it was Ballpark Village, and finally Riverside Village. SRP Park, the crown jewel owned by the city, is now home to an Atlanta Braves affiliate. Opening day is tomorrow. The apartments are all filled. The hotel is beautiful. The restaurants are popular. But there are opportunities that have yet to be completed, although the outlook, I believe, is promising. The new Savannah Bluff Lock and Dam was critically important when I became mayor, and trust me, it is still critically important today to North Augusta, Aiken County, and Richmond, Augusta. I'm hopeful that the Corps' appeal of Judge Gergel's ruling, which said that the Wind Act actually meant what it said, that the river pool elevation has to remain at 114.5. I'm hopeful their appeal will be rejected. let me tell you, North Augusta has played an important role in that total effort as it relates to the lock and dam. There are so many other issues that I think I could talk about that are before this city. And maybe, certainly one of the most important ones, if not the most important one, is Calhoun Park and the Meriwether Monument. If you remember George Bush's presidency, 9/11 got his attention early. The Meriwether Monument was brought to my attention early. I spent an enormous amount of time involving people from all walks of life in discussing the issue. Unfortunately, because of the procedures that we must go through, we're now waiting for the legislature to answer back and tell us whether or not they believe they own the Meriwether Monument. But that is one issue that I wish I could have completed during my turn. You know, the song My Way states it. Regrets, I've had a few, but too few to mention. Let me conclude with just three final things. Number one, Saturday night, we dedicated the amphitheater to Sharon Jones. That was a spectacular event, in my opinion. And it was the perfect way to end my service to this city. And thanks to those of you, particularly the Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee Committee, who put it together. Number two, obviously, is my family, my wife. My granddaughter's up in the back. It was 4 years ago. She held the Bibles when I took the oath. Thank you for being here, Molly. Mary, you know how much I appreciate you. And number three, this is, well, let me just say, this is the third time that I will be retiring. I know Mary hopes that I get it right this time. Let me conclude by saying that today the city filed an update on the Emma website, an update to its voluntary filing for the fiscal quarter ended March 31st, 2021. The update was made in the, quote, identified sources of installment payments, unquote, section, specifically related to the mid-assessments. The city's voluntary filing for the fiscal quarter ended March 31st, 2021 was posted April 19th, just prior to the quarterly update to council at the study session that night. I'm able to announce tonight that all outstanding taxes, special assessments, penalties, and interest applicable for tax year 2019, last year, were collected on all parcels in the Municipal Improvement District, and that happened on April 30th. I'm also able to say that for tax year 2020, all outstanding city taxes and special assessments were also collected on all parcels on that same day. The mid-assessments chart on Emma was updated to reflect mid-receipts collected through April 30th of this year. The mid-assessments collected on April 30th for all the parcels in Riverside Village for tax years 2019 and 2020 totaled $1,961,106. That puts us back on track. thank you very much for this opportunity. And to those of you who are soon to be sworn in, the responsibility is awesome. The opportunities are great. And we wish you Godspeed. Okay, ready for Judge Kelly? Kelly, I don't know what to do. The first.
Please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. As council member of the city of North Augusta,
As councilman, member of the city of North Augusta,
I will equally,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and skill,
and skill,
exercise the trust reposed in me,
exercise the reposed trust in me,
and I will use my best endeavors
and I will use my best endeavors
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect, according to the law, the purposes for which I have been elected.
purposes in which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Thomas Murphy, and just please over there. Would you hold that, sir? Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. As council member of the city of North Augusta,
As council member of the city of North Augusta,
impartially, to the best of my ability and skill, exercise the trust reposed in me. And I will use my best endeavors, preserve the peace, and carry into effect, according to the law, purposes for which I've been elected. So help me God. Congratulations. Would you step over? Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I'm sorry. Okay. As mayor of the city of North Augusta, I will equally, fairly, and impartially, to the best of my ability and skill, exercise the trust reposed in me. And I will use my best endeavors, preserve the peace, and carry into effect, according to the law, purposes for which I've been elected. So help me God.
I want to thank Mayor Pettit for his service over the last 4 years. I've said numerous times during the campaign that Mayor Pettit has worked hard for the citizens, every single one of the citizens in this community. He and Lark Jones are the only two men in the last 24 years that really understands the pressure and the responsibility of leading our town. I know he's had great support by his wife, Mary, during these last 4 years, and my guess is she's been a strong foundation for him. Bob and I go to church together. He's a good Christian man. I thank him for his dedicated service. So please join me one last time for a round of applause for Mayor Pettit for thanking him for his dedication and service as mayor. And finally, I want to thank Fletcher Dickert for his service the last 8 years. He has been consistent. He has been steady councilman who loves this city. He has done everything with citizens' best interest. He has been an asset to our city. I'm glad I know him. So help me give a round of applause for Fletcher Dickert. I was told as mayor had the prerogative to change the agenda, so I just did. Item number 13, administrative reports. Mr. Clifford, Ms. Moody, do we have any administrative reports for council?
Mr. Mayor, we have one administrative report, and I'll defer to Rachel Moody, our Assistant City Administrator, for that report.
We're happy to announce that the splash pad at Summerfield Park opened today. We couldn't have chosen a better day with the rain. And just to piggyback on that, Summerfield Park got a lot of love On Saturday, the Planning and Development Department partnered with our stormwater group, and they did a cleanup at Summerfield Park, and they had 10 volunteers show up to help clean up the park. So should be looking good.
That's great. Thank you. Presentations, communication, recognition of visitors, basically citizen comments and council comments. Let me just say how much we appreciate the public being here. It is great to see citizens willing to take time out of their day and evening to come sit at a city council meeting. And we thank you, each and every one of you for that. It's nice to start getting back to normal, and we are going to. Tonight, I will read and follow the procedures that are done normally, but I do hope to make some tweaks so how we handle citizens' comments in the future. I ask that you work with me tonight so we can hear your comments if you have them, but still keep it within the 5-minute time frame. At this time, citizens may speak to mayor and city council regarding matters not listed on the agenda. Speakers shall give their name and address in an audible tone of voice for the records. Speaker forms are provided on the credenza at the entrance to the council chambers. Speakers desiring that the minutes indicate that they address council on a specific topic should complete the form. The form will be included as part of the minutes of the meeting. Citizen comments are limited to 5 minutes. Citizens who wish to address council will raise their hand. When called upon, they should come forward to the microphone. If they have chosen to complete a speaker form, they will hand the form to the city clerk. At this time, are there any citizen comments? I bet this will be the last time that'll happen. All right. Before I ask Councilwomen McCauley, Carpenter, and Councilman McGee for some comments since they are recently elected, are there any comments from any other members of council that would like to share anything at this point? This is your chance.
Just to say congratulations to the two of you. Look forward to working with you both. Bright days are ahead.
Thank you, Councilman Toole.
Yeah, I guess Kevin beat me to it. Me and him, I sometimes think we think the same, but no, congratulations on a hard-fought victory. I'm glad that both of y'all, when you were running, reached out to me, knowing, hey, if I win, I'm going to have to work with this guy for at least 2 years. So, Jennifer, if there's ever any questions, I know when I got on, I guess Fletcher's already left. I probably should have spoke earlier, but, he really helped, him and David and Pat and Bob. They all helped us. So, if you need anything, feel free to ask. And just congratulations to both of y'all. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Great. Thank you. Councilman Brooks.
Congratulations, Jen, Pat, and David, and the mayor. We all look forward to working together and making North Augusta even a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Carpenter, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'm like Fletcher now. If we don't talk, something's wrong. But I would just like to say thank you to the citizens and this city for voting for me. I've been here a good little while, and sometimes, as I said earlier, that can hurt you or help you sometimes. But I do appreciate everybody's hard work. I want to say John Felak right there gave his all. And John, thank you for everything you did. Give him, and Colin, I told Colin, I know he's glad it's over too, because he was at everything that was happening in this city. But this has been a fun election. Everybody that ran are good people, everybody. And I'm just, thankful that we're here, and I appreciate it so much. And also thank my family. Now, my son and his wife and children couldn't be here, but Kenneth and Fran and Will, Ellen, Hayden, sitting right back here. Without your family, you cannot do this. And like I said in something years ago, they are my wind beneath my wings. They allow me to get out and do what I do. And it's Fletcher and I do thank y'all for that and putting up with me. I tell Kenneth he's going to have a star in his crown in heaven, I know, putting up with Pat Carpenter. But I thank you. And I grew up in downtown North Augusta. Before I was on council, this city meant a lot to me. and of course, the last 28 years, it means even more. So I thank you for your vote and support, and as I say all the time, I'll continue to serve you with an open and honest heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman McGee.
Well, Fletcher said a lot of wonderful things, and I want to say thank you for all the support from the public and all the citizens of North Augusta as they put their faith back in me to serve them again. I appreciate that, and I plan to continue to be committed to making North Augusta great. I've said it before that, you know, it's really the community, it's the people, our friends that make North Augusta so well. It's not how many restaurants we have, it's not all the activities we necessarily have, it's the people that make it friendly and nice. And I have people tell me that all the time. People that are new to the town that tell me that, you know, North Augusta is so charming. And I want us to continue to be that way. Of course, we'd love to have more businesses, but, you know, it's the people that make it more charming. I definitely want to make sure I take the time to thank my family because, like Fletcher said earlier, it takes a large commitment from your family, my wife especially, as she puts up with the evening discussions of what happened at study session and things like that. Miss Jennifer, you're going to get a chance to experience that. So it's the patience of my family and my children and what they've had to endure along the way, and we're going to continue to move along just fine. And thankful that I'm back here to be able to help for the city, and congratulations, Miss Jennifer and Mr. Williams.
Councilwoman McCauley, how's that sound? All right.
I just want to take a minute, obviously, and thank all the citizens for all the support, for putting your trust in me. I hope that I can listen and serve you well and listen and learn from you as well. I know the citizens are why we were all up here, and it's all of our goals to make North Augusta great, and we look forward to continuing on all of the initiatives that have begun. And I know, as Britton says, we can achieve great things together. I think that is stuck in, and I know that we will all be doing that. And I just really, really appreciate the support. Everybody that supported me through the campaign, everybody that worked hard to get out through the neighborhoods and put in a lot of steps. Many of y'all know that I'm a runner, so a lot of times when people are talking about their steps, they were so excited to say, I got 10,000 steps in today. So I appreciate everybody that did that for me as well. And of course, thank you to my family, my sweet Ethan up there that probably wants to be sitting right next to me. He has been a campaigner, and my husband, Michael, he is finally off dinner duty since he had to take it for the 2 weeks leading up to Election Day, so he's probably happy that's over. To my mom and dad for making the trip over, to my adopted North Augusta family that keeps our children so that I can be able to do this, and to Joanne, she wasn't able to be here tonight, but it takes a village for me to be able to be up here, and I really appreciate all of them, and I hope that through that village that I can serve everybody well, and I look forward to working with this team, and I look forward to just making North Augusta great and a great place for all families. Thank you.
I've got 4 comments and then we'll get out of here. One of the points I made during the campaign was the need to focus on planning and our study sessions. I was asked in an interview after the election, what would citizens see first from the new council? I said citizens would see the change in how we have study sessions. We will have our first study session with this new council on May the 10th, which is an off Monday council night. This will be a work in progress, but will begin to give us a template of how I would like future study sessions to be done. And this will not be virtual. 2, another one of my platforms was giving citizens an opportunity to speak with council 1 hour before the first council meeting each month. Our first public power hour will be June the 7th. We will give details on the format of how it will be done in the next week or so. I would like to take just a minute to explain what we hope it will be and what it won't be. This will be a chance for citizens to talk to council about non-agenda items. This will be a chance for citizens to share information that council may not be aware of that is happening in our city or in their neighborhood that we should know about. This will be a chance for citizens who have questions answered in some area that they may not know how to get the answer. This will be a chance to make sure citizens have the full council in front of them, listening to their concerns. Some examples I heard when I was door knocking. My street's a cut through. We need to find out about a speed bump. My street's having a drainage problem. I'm having an issue with my trash pickup. How does the city determine when streets get repaved? There's a table in the park that's broken. Now, this public power hour is not these things. It's not a chance to vent randomly about what's on your mind or if you don't agree with something. It is not a chance for personal attacks or for anything that is not related to improving whatever the situation is. And citizens may not get an answer that night if it's something that we'll have to address with staff. But folks, I really believe through this public power hour, we will begin to improve communications between citizens and this city. It will give you a voice to let us know what we need to do better. 3, I want to give a shout out to our public safety department. You need to put May the 9th through the 15th on your calendar. That is National Law Enforcement Week. And I've said before, I will put our officers up against anybody in this country for a town our size. We have amazing leadership, amazing officers, and I commend them. You need to continue to be praying. It's been amazing, the community support for Officer Cook and his family this last few weeks. And I think it just shows how thankful as a community we are about our public safety, and it's true. And the last thing, we're out of here. First of all, I want to thank Jenny Lynn, my family. I want to thank Deborah, who's my BOA, who will at Edward Jones. I want to thank, I sent a, if you really want to know how I feel about the community, you can go to my public Facebook page, Britton Williams for North Augusta Mayor. I shared really what this community means to me. I'm not going to do that tonight, but I do thank everyone who supported me and voted for me, who prayed for me, encouraged me as we move forward. But what I really want to tell council is I am so excited to work with every one of you as we represent our citizens in this town. And I really look forward to working with every employee and staff as we all strive to achieve great things for this community in the future. And we stand adjourned.